I'm Dr. Fred Roberto of Maximize Living, and I'm standing here in prototype for the first ever MaxTV Fitness Center in Atlanta, Georgia. And so here we are in Maximize Living with a new year, getting ready to create a new you. And we just want to support you on your journey to amazing health and wellness. I believe that everyone's got purpose on this planet, or you wouldn't be here, but it's hard to serve your purpose if you're sick, suffering, or dead. And so no longer can we be playing small and living a life of mediocrity. We were intended for greatness. We were intended to have amazingly healthy and happy lives, and Maximize Living has got your plan for that. And so with this new year, we've got a new makeover, and so it's all about your best year ever. So I can just clearly envision that everyone's living their best life ever. And for that to happen, you've got to live your best year ever. And we've got a makeover designed around just that. And in the makeover, we're going to provide the information and the tools for you to be wildly successful. But it can't just be about, just learning how to eat better, or learning how to exercise a different way or a more effective way, or learning how to detoxify your body, or even getting your spine corrected. There's something that has to happen first. There's something that's far more important than for any of those things to have their say in your life, and that's to change the way you think and change your habits and take different actions in your life. Because without different actions, you are who you were last year. And so this new makeover is designed specifically around that, about reaching inside, not just your head, but in your heart, wanting different things, reprogramming the software that you're running on so that you can elicit different thoughts, which will create different actions in your life, because it's going to be that information that you gain that is nothing unless you couple it with the practical application. And it's not until you take that action that then turns into transformation. So if you want to see the best transformation ever, then it's going to begin with changing your software, and we've got your plan. So our goal is just to inspire you to just show up. That's the first step in massive transformation, and just to start taking action. All you have to do is follow the plan. We've got it all mapped out for you, step by step. You just show up, you check the box, and over a period of time, you will see incredible transformation in your life. It's undeniable. The laws and principles that govern your health are undeniable. No one delivers these plans and these programs like Maximize Living. We've got it all planned out. It's all mapped out. All you have to do is show up and take action. I'm Dr. Fred Roberto with another Fit Tip, and here are some of our MaxTV core values, and especially in regards to the kind of conditioning that we promote. So we use a lot of high-intensity, short-duration movements, and that's just where the science says you got to hang your hat if you want to get amazingly fit, or even more importantly, amazingly healthy. It's all about short-duration, high-intensity exercise. Unfortunately, to be in that state means that you have to get uncomfortable. And this is the key component here. And what we want to teach is that you have to learn in your mind to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. If you can train and condition yourself to be in that state, then you'll find yourself doing all the right things and getting the right results that you're looking for. But again, it's all about having a shift, a paradigm shift. Most people, when they get to that state when their heart's racing, or that their lungs are breathing really hard and they're out of oxygen, it's uncomfortable, so they start to shut down. That's the point where you got to hang in there. And it's more than a physical game. It comes down to being a mental game. So reprogram your mind, start thinking in the capacity where you are now the person who is comfortable in those uncomfortable situations. I'm Dr. Fred Roberto, and today we're going to be focused on standard push-ups. There's nothing like a standard push-up. It's just an amazing exercise that shouldn't be taken lightly. I mean, you should be incorporating these all the time, and there's certain variations that obviously you can bring into the mix just to create a lot more variability in your movement patterns, especially getting joints through different ranges of motion and everything else. But you know, the standard push-up is just amazing. So always want to make sure you're doing this right. Whenever we're exercising, one thing that we always want to protect is the integrity of our spine. It's the core of all the movements of everything that we do and houses the nervous system. So I want to make sure, looking at it from the side, that I first start in this high plank position right here. I want my arms pretty much straight, and then I also want to make sure that my core is locked in and tight. So I'm squeezing my spine to my belly button. I want to make sure that I am not sagging like this. I don't want my butt sticking up in the air like this as well. I don't want my head looking down or hanging down in this capacity here. And I don't want it looking up in this fashion right here as well. I want to maintain the architecture of my spine, a good C-shaped curve in my neck, and then a good C-shaped curve in my low back, and then lock my body into position right there. So from that point forward, I shouldn't see my body position moving in any fashion whatsoever. I'm locked in, and what I want to make sure that I also do is go through a full range of motion. A lot of people will make the mistake of just doing half push-ups, either on the bottom side or the top side, and the problem with that is anytime you compromise your range of motion, you compromise your strength gains by as much as 50% or even more. And so in this position, I'm locked in tight with my core, because this is very much a core workout as it is an upper body. So I'm gonna go all the way down to this position right here. My chest just lightly touches the ground, and I'm gonna push all the way back up. And it's down and all the way back up. Not one of these and not one of these right here. It's all the way down and all the way back up. It's a great movement. You're gonna work your chest, you're gonna work your triceps, you're gonna work the front side of your shoulders. And like I said, with different variations of the push-up, you can focus on different elements of those joints and the musculature around the joints. But this is something that anyone and everyone can do. And let me show you the modifications for that. So if you have trouble doing the regular push-up, you could certainly do it from your knees. And let me show that too while I'm here. It's not my favorite thing to do, because I think you take out some element of your core when you're doing it from your knees right here. But if you need to, go to your knees. But if you do, a lot of people end up doing it like this, and their butt comes up. If you go to your knees, let your pelvis sag down, lock it in, tighten my core. I'm squeezing my belly button to my spine, it's tight, and I'm gonna go all the way down, all the way up just the same. And you have to really fight against going into this position here. So I'm down and I'm up. What I'd prefer if someone needs to modify is that they would go to an inclined surface like a box right here. So again, same thing, I'm gonna tighten my core, because now I got my core back into this. And so I'm down and I'm up. If that's too hard, well then go to the next step, a bigger box. Down and up. You can use a chair, you can use a table, and finally you can even go to a wall. And anybody and everybody can do this, I don't care who you are. So you're here, I'm gonna tighten everything up, just fall into this position right here and push back. So lean up against a wall and push back. And if that's where you need to start, that's fine. You go from there to the box, to the lower box, to your knees or to the floor, and you've got your push-ups going on. For more information like this, you can visit maximizeliving.com/MaxT3. I'm Dr. Fred Roberto, Max out. I'm Dr. Fred Roberto with another fit tip. And again, when we're coming out of the gates, we want to approach this the right way. And so again, just understand, and a lot of people, they get frustrated when they start a program because they look around and there's people doing things that they wish they could do, or they're not able to do the things that they once were able to do, and that's fine. that's totally fine. You have to have the right mindset going into this thing. And that mindset, you follow this mantra. You may not be able to do everything that you want to do, but you could do something. And that's the important thing, is that when you wake up in a day, you know you need to start moving your body. You have a genetic requirement for a certain amount of exercise every single day. You've got to meet that requirement, or you start flipping genetic switches. So you start doing something, and then amazing things begin to happen. You have these laws and principles of fitness, the law of overload, the law of adaptation. Just by doing something, your body's going to start to adapt to that new condition, and then you get fitter. And then guess what? The next day you could do something more. And then you get even fitter, and then you do something more and something more, and you look back after a week or a month or even a year later, and you don't even recognize who you are, but it started somewhere. So again, just remember, you may not be able to do everything that you want to do or the person next to you can do, but you could do something, so start with that.
Hi, I'm Dr. Ben Lerner. Welcome to the Max Life Show. I'm here with Dr. Aaron Ernst. Welcome, Dr. Aaron.
Yeah.
And we're talking today about interference. We work with 5 essentials, and the idea here is that if you apply these 5 essentials to your life, you're really supporting, not distorting your body's function, and it can heal. So you've seen this all the time with your patients. They walk in and with virtually any kind of condition. So people sometimes wonder what we treat.
Right.
And, of course, we don't treat anything. We get you well, and then your body heals of whatever it's dealing with. And so when we talk about some of those conditions, just give a couple of random things. Somebody walks in with one issue and others go away.
Well, I think the classic, of course, since being chiropractors, is a lot of people come in with neck pain or back pain and headaches. And we call them the silent miracles when someone says, hey, so I've been coming for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. My headaches are gone, and also I haven't had allergies, or I don't have sinus infections anymore.
Yeah.
Some of the comments are, I noticed a big change in my digestion, and I never knew that they were connected.
Yeah, and sometimes they don't even tell you.
No.
So they're like, by the way, I never did tell you,
Yeah.
but I have this horrible colitis, and it's completely gone ever since you started adjusting my neck.
Right.
And one of my earliest patients, I was upper cervical when I started, so she came in with severe low back pain and severe cramping, from her menstruation cycle, and I'm adjusting her neck up here.
Right.
And it kind of ties along the same lines. We remove the interference so that the nerve system gains control of the body again. And she was, frustrated. You're touching me up here, problems down here, but remove the interference, the body's designed to heal itself.
I think that comes too because so many patients are trained in a medical world, which it's, they take this for that, and when we look at it from getting to the cause, it's not this adjustment for that condition, and that's what's so great about the body healing itself.
Yeah, and that's an empowering thought that you come in and the solution's actually in you already. It's not out here somewhere, and it's very powerful. And then you can get into, there's a book one of my mentors wrote called "A Potato is a Pill," or "When is a Potato a Pill?"
Right.
And it's when I'm now swallowing nutrition, again, with trying to use it like a drug, versus it about being the body's health. And I know you do a lot of nutrition. That's not the approach you take, but that can be misconstrued as that.
Yeah.
And so when people understand, first at a high level, once again, the body's designed to be healthy. And we can interfere with that. You can interfere with it at a very young age. So you can be a baby and have interfered with that. We could have subluxation there. There could be poor nutrition at that point already. Of course, they're already giving drugs. We're doing everything we possibly can to interfere with the baby's
Correct.
health. So even very early on, things could be malfunctioning. And if not corrected, you just grow up with those malfunctions. So what are some points of interference? If we're telling people, hey, you should be well, you can interfere. What are the kind of the ways you can interfere?
Well, I think some of the classic ones, of course, are we have nutritional interferences, we have toxic interferences. Some of the harder ones are, of course, the mental interferences, just the idea that we believe that we can actually do something. I think that if we can jump that hurdle, we'll see instant change starting to take place within a patient.
It's amazing as the founders of our profession, and of course, we've advanced light years since then,
Right.
but it was designed where D.D. Palmer, the original founder, he said there's 3 ways to interfere. And you just touched on, there's mental interference, so you've got aberrant thinking that messes everything up. And I was just looking at research the other day as to how stress and other forms of mental thought actually affect the DNA.
Correct.
And you can actually have genes that are turned on to cancer because of the way you're thinking. So here, he thought of it in 1895. Here we are learning about the gene all these years later and how that bad thinking can equal genes causing cancer. He talked about toxicity that you mentioned, that you could have toxic interference and, of course, subluxation, interference of the nervous system. Then his son BJ had a clinic and said there were 3 essentials. There was nutrition that he mentioned, as well as movements, and of course, again, the essential of nerve supply. So that's the founding thought there. So when you say that for example, nutrition can interfere, describe that for people.
Well, to me, it's kind of the idea if we get the nerve system functioning to its maximum potential, as you mentioned, the body has the power, it has the ability to, but if I have this really strong nerve system, but I'm constantly poisoning myself with processed foods, or I'm eating a high-fat, fast food style diet, then what happens is we tend to slow down the ability for the body to correct itself. So of course, our goal would be to remove the interferences in every of the essential components. So if we can have a good, strong nerve system and a really clean diet, but not just clean the way most people think clean, which is salads and smoothies, but actually getting to their core interferences with how their nutrition is not working for them, but it's working against them.
Right, because I have a degree in nutrition. So at a pretty young age, I started eating. Well, I used to have to make weight for wrestling in junior high school and high school. So I was into nutrition early on, but then I went to a chiropractor, did wonders for my health. But I still had limitations. That I still had problems that constantly nagged me. So when you say nutrition working for you, I'll give you my experience, and maybe you can share some of the other ones you've had. So for example, I can't do caffeine. So a certain percentage of people are hypersensitive to caffeine. So like everybody else, I drink coffee and tea and things like that, and didn't realize that was causing a lot of these problems that I was having. I'm also really sensitive to eggs. So typical breakfast of eggs, I'm eating that every morning, having all kinds of stomach troubles, thinking, what's wrong with my stomach?
Because you're doing the right stuff.
Right. And then the last thing was, and I probably caused this because my snack for years and years was almonds. And so it's likely I actually gave myself a hypersensitivity to almonds by constantly eating them till my body decided they were a toxin. And so here I am eating this, what would be considered this really clean, perfect diet, and yet and I'm adjusted, and my health just isn't what it should be, given I'm fit, I'm adjusted, I'm eating this clean diet. Why do I have all these problems?
Yeah, and it's the same thing with patients, because they come in and say, well, I don't understand, I'm eating really well. And I'm sure you've experienced too. So we say, well, why don't you show me how well you're eating? Do a log, or bring in some of your snacks, and it's oh my gosh, this is nothing close to what we would consider well. And then of course the ability for us to now test and actually find out how well are you actually doing with your vitamins and your minerals and your nutrients, looking for the deficiencies, because when we address what's specific to you, then your health excels.
Yeah, and I think that's really critical. I love that you sort of made clear that the concept of a clean diet is probably not what people think it is. And it's one of the funniest moments in all of counseling with nutrition. So I got the degree in nutrition and then did counseling for the next 30 years. Is almost everybody says, actually, I eat pretty well.
Correct.
And then when I say, well, why don't you just write it down, just humor me, and let me see it. And 100% of the time, here it is. I guess it wasn't as good as I thought. I really never calculated all the candy. Like I just popped it here and there. I didn't realize it was 15 a day or something like that. But then even when people begin to improve, there are certain things that really can be a problem for people. And that's where I got into testing myself, because as I started seeing patients that were improving their diet, again, their nerve system's improving, and it wasn't until we did testing. So we've done everything from early on, we did some, I used to look at a lot of dietary testing where you see what foods they're sensitive to. And I really stopped doing it because everybody tended to have the same kind of groupings. You saw a lot of dairy, you saw a lot of eggs, you saw a lot of nuts, just a lot of these sort of basic things. So I could look at their diet and say, rather than maybe spending the money on nutrition testing, I could see you're eating a lot of the things that pop up all the time. And some of it is because their body's actually sensitive. Some of it's because of the quality of it.
Correct.
So commercial dairy, roasted processed nuts, things like that. So what are some of the things maybe you're seeing as you're evaluating people's diets that are common to cause problems that they may be missing?
Well, of course, the typical one is, a lot of people still think wheat is healthy as long as it's a whole grain, so there's the whole gluten components. And then probably the next biggest one I see is the avenue of them thinking that, I'm taking these really good vitamins, thinking that they are supplemental to their health. And so they'll list them out, and we run the test and find out, well, you're still extremely vitamin deficient. And they'll often say, well, how can I be vitamin deficient if I'm taking all the vitamins? So I think it's a combination of foods they think are good for them, like rice and wheat and dairy, and we have to try to educate them on how that's actually probably what's causing the interference in the first place.
Yeah, and so these bad foods can interfere, so everything's working, you're actually interfering.
Correct.
And there really are limitations to matter.
Yes.
There are chiropractors that think we're mixers because we talk about nutrition, but then I've been doing this for 30 years.
Right.
There's a reality to my own health, to my family's health, and to many of my patients where if they're poisoning their body with the foods they're eating, whether it's just unique to their body or just poisoning in general, they're not getting anywhere with their health if we don't address this one issue too.
And I think it helps people to break through the plateaus, because we've all had that component where we start getting adjusted and we do phenomenal, and it's kind of like we start slowing down with that phenomenal result. So addressing each of the essentials from nutrition to toxicity to even fitness helps them to just get to the next level. And we're always trying to reach that perfection state, but it's always a work in progress.
Yeah, and I think that's something you and I strive for in our own lives, and certainly we want that for our patients. I'm not thinking, let me adjust you and I'm okay with a plateau.
Right.
And so I don't necessarily care if you call me a mixer. I'm looking for people to reach their health potential. I want them to achieve God's purposes. I want them to fulfill their destiny. I'm not going to say, well, this is all we do down here.
Correct.
And and that's where we started. And this is again through personal experience with thousands of patients as we started doing the supplement testing, because people had these extreme deficiencies.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, they didn't know it. Many of them are already taking supplements for it. And things like vitamin D, where it's just difficult to get those levels up, that if you don't do that test, they don't know that's there. And so they can really start to struggle with symptoms. And what's interesting about that too is all of us took, like in elementary school nutrition that you had to take, you learned all the different diseases that come from vitamin deficiencies. Yeah, so it's one of the most basic sciences that are out there. If you don't have vitamin D, it's rickets. If you don't have vitamin C, it's scurvy, and a whole list of other things that are attached directly to vitamins, which is why I always think it's interesting when, say, a medical doctor doesn't believe in nutrition. I'm like, you learned that in third grade, And so if you get a disease if you're super deficient, well then what happens if you're modestly deficient?
Correct. So I think it comes to the point of, like you talked about earlier, it slows the ability down. So we may look healthy, feel healthy, act healthy, but we're not to that optimum potential because we have these subtle interferences with things in our nutrition and our toxins. And I'm sure we've all had that example of a patient who was responding very well, but would say, well, I'm still having a problem with this one area, and we run a test and we're like, well, like you said, vitamin D is almost non-existent in you. How can we expect to just keep adjusting you and over again and have that vitamin D level come up from an adjustment? We have to augment it, supplement it, and change their lifestyle.
Right. And the adjustment can help them absorb it better.
Correct.
And so they can utilize it more efficiently.
Yes.
But if the raw material isn't there,
they go hand in hand.
Yeah. You've got to get the raw material to absorb it. It's
Correct.
not going. You're just not going to get it. Because even we're in Florida, and people just aren't enough in the sun even to absorb it that way. So you're going to need it. And the body is made of. We're actually made of star stuff. So the carbon that makes us carbon-based life forms comes from stars.
Correct.
But it's stuff. There's material. There are raw materials that make us up, and that intelligence that runs through that nerve system is what forms the body and keeps it together. But you still need the stuff. You need raw materials.
Yeah.
And the quality of those has a lot to do with the quality of you.
Absolutely.
So if you're watching Maximize Living, our motto is everybody deserves the 5 essentials. And so as we realize that our bodies were designed to be healthy, the key is we look for interferences. And if we remove those, if we support our bodies with the 5 essentials, we say if you support it, don't distort it. Whatever you're facing today, your chance of getting well is super high. And I just like the way, Dr. Aaron, that you approach it, that we want to be at our potential, so why wouldn't we want to help our patients be at their potential?
Dr. Fred Roberto with another fit tip and another MaxT3 core principle, and that is this is a game of you versus you. Even in our fitness centers where we work out in a team or a group environment, it's never one person versus another. Certainly we love to have a lot of friendly competition amongst the group, but at the end of the day, we always dial it back so that every individual is doing this for themselves. And so that's what you're here for, is to achieve this amazing life, to reach your fullest potential. So you work for yourself. It's always you versus you. If you want to challenge anyone, challenge yourself. That's the best person you can ever challenge. Push yourself to your limits. But by having that same attitude, you don't get caught up working against other people, and you're going to be 10 times more inclined to work within yourself. And that's the tough thing, is only you know yourself better than anyone else. And so you got to walk that line where you're getting the most out of every single workout without crossing the line and doing too much where you find out tomorrow that you did too much the day before. We don't want to be in that state because we don't want anyone getting hurt. So ultimately, it's going to come down to learning what you're capable of, working within yourself, and keeping that attitude where it's always you versus you. Hey, it's Dr. Fred again, and want to talk to you about the upcoming community dinner. Again, you probably hear me say this all the time, another one of my favorite events, but these are events that I love. It's just because I know the impact that they can have. For me, the community dinner is a lot of fun because, you know, I'd love to host something like this. It's another chance for me to give back to my patients and to show people that, you know, there's a different way that you can eat. Even I get to show them that you can go out and eat very healthy. The recipes that we have at our community dinners are awesome. But at the same token, it's a chance for us to share with people, you know, that there's a different way that you can live your life and approach your health than the way Americans typically do. And it's not just for our patients and to, again, get them grounded even deeper into the principles that, you know, that you guys already know, but also for you to bring people from the community out with you, whether it be friends or coworkers or family members. I mean, we'll buy them dinner as well, and it's just a gift that we can give you. But more importantly, it's an opportunity for us to just share the mission. And you know, it's just amazing because it's something like a community dinner, something as simple as that could be the one thing, the seed that's planted or the action step that's necessary to take someone who's in a very bad way or someone who's been on their knees praying for answers, and that could be the answer to their prayers. And you could be the person who fills that gap. You could be the person who's waiting in the wings to go out there and change someone's life. So you make sure that you bring someone to things like this upcoming dinner, or to patient appreciation days, or to makeovers, or to any of the other events. You could be that vehicle of change and affect the lives of so many other people. You don't know how powerful you actually can be. So go out there, spread the word, attend the dinners, have lots of fun, and it's great for us to just have fellowship with our patients as well.
Hey, this is Zach Zovath with the Maximize Living Fit tip, and that is, you don't need a gym membership to get in a great workout. The principles of MaxT3 can be applied to any movement in any location to get in a great workout. If you don't have any equipment, you can apply bodyweight movements or do bodyweight movements to get in an extremely effective workout. Or you can use stuff that you have laying around the house. For example, a gallon jug of water weighs about 8 pounds. It can easily be turned into a functional piece of fitness equipment.
Welcome back to MaxTV. This is Dr. David. I'm here with Shan Smith, a good friend of ours and a patient and family in the office. Shan, you've got a great testimonial about coming into the office and had a lot of issues. So just kind of help me out with how life was before you came into the office.
Mainly just your everyday life. Things were not as well as they are now. I suffered with a lot of small, I would say minute medical problems that I never thought that there would be a change or a fix for. I was diagnosed with IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. It kind of sucks running to the bathroom about 4 times a day, maybe a little bit more. And that's an everyday thing. And it's really uncomfortable. You get a lot of gas, bloating, just bad feelings all the time. When you're in the middle of doing something, take off, you gotta go. And I used to suffer with massive strain headaches in the back of my head. And I never knew what the cause of that was, and I used to pop aspirin all day long.
Yeah, your wife said you were taking those like Tic Tacs.
Absolutely, yeah. It was about 2 to 4 a day.
We found a lot going on in your nerve supply, right?
Yes, sir. Yep.
So we did x-rays, we did those things. And what was your experience? Just kind of walk us through what happened after that.
I never had an idea about what could be causing the problems that I had. I never really knew about chiropractics or anything like that, since I do work in the VA, which is a general hospital for medical care. And, I always thought it might have been a medical-based thing, and I don't go see a doctor on a regular basis, except for when I was diagnosed with IBS. After the x-rays, learning that, what is and what's causing the problems that I have, and you showed me I have like this scoliosis in my neck, and that was pretty much, the cause of what was happening back here.
You said after the first adjustment, yeah.
After the first adjustment, yeah. I mean, the stress headaches just literally disappeared. And I was like, because I know what some medications do to you, and taking large doses of pill form aspirin or ibuprofen and stuff like that, it really messes with your liver. It can do damage over long term, and I was hoping there was some change or something I could do where I wouldn't have to deal with that. And sometimes I just didn't even take it and just dealt with the headaches because I just know the causes and stuff like that.
So headaches are gone.
Headaches are gone. And then after about a week, I literally stopped having to have diarrhea, going to the bathroom, loose bowel movements, all that kind of stuff. Everything just started changing. It was like over a week, it was just like a massive change. Like everything became what I consider normal,
That's all. So let me ask you, so there's a lot of people with digestive issues. There's a lot of families. I mean, it's epidemic right now if you look at the numbers. So what would you tell people who, whether it's headaches or the digestive issues or just health issues in general, what would you tell somebody who was contemplating going to see a Maximized Living doctor but they're not sure yet?
Well, a lot of people are real skeptical about chiropractics, and here, like I say in testimonial to people, I tell them all the time, I was like, if you have issues that you don't know about and you're just taking a whole bunch of medications, try an alternative. Come to Maximized Living, come see you, talk to somebody, get some information, be educated about it, and you'll learn a lot like I did. I'm like a sponge in it. It changes the way I look for things. Everything used to be, diagnosis, medication to fix it. There's a lot of different things that I've learned here that I know now that I didn't know before. You guys are wonderful, the way you guys, open up and tell people, just wonderful things, man. I'm telling you.
If you're one of these that we're talking about all the time, that are just contemplating, kind of lost a little bit of hope, I hope that helps you. I hope she gives you a little more encouragement. But we have almost 500 offices throughout the country and 4 others. We open about 35 to 50 offices a year. So hopefully this message will get to you as well. So we love and appreciate you. Thanks for being here.
Tell someone.
Tell somebody. Thanks.
All right.
Hey, it's Dr. Fred Roberto back at you again, and want to talk to you about the upcoming Max Life Call. Max Life Call is a great event. It's something where you don't even have to leave your house, so there's no excuses. So with the Max Life Call, it's going to be somewhat of a reflection of the makeover that we've done, and it'll be hosted by myself and Dr. Ryan and Zach, who you've also seen on this video a little bit earlier. So these guys are experts on fitness in particular, and mindset, and just life transformation. So you'll get tips right from the horse's mouth. And so obviously it'll be a little bit different. It'll be different, but it'll be similar. So it's a great way to bring people who've missed the makeover to get caught up to speed on how how to make 2016 your best year ever. Dr. Fred Roberto with a great lower body posterior chain movement that can be done with or without equipment. The good morning. Far too often the lower body is neglected, and even when people do work their lower body, they often neglect the posterior chain. This is especially true when people don't have any equipment to work with, and so often they'll just become quad dominant. But a great movement that you can use to work the posterior chain without any equipment whatsoever is the good morning. So when you're doing a good morning, what you want to do is put your hands behind your head right here. And even though I'm staying straight up, I still want to accentuate that arc in my low back. I want to always keep my spine organized, and a good strong spine biomechanically has a good curve in the neck, an opposing curve in the mid-back, and then another forward curve in your low back right here. So what I'm going to do is stick my butt out just a little bit and accentuate that arch right there, and that's to preload my low back for this movement right here, because what I want to do is get the slightest bend in my legs, just a slight bend in my legs. I really want to engage my hamstrings when I do this. I'll put my hands behind my back right here, and then I'm just going to just simply hinge at the waist right here, and I can really feel my hamstrings engaging big time. They are just screaming right here. I'm keeping that arch in my back into this position and then back up, and it's down and engage. I really feel it loading right here, and then back up. And I'm down and engage, just like I'm gonna like jump off from this position, but I just load everything up. I tighten everything up right here, and I'm back up. And down and back up. And all the while I'm keeping my weight on my heels, and I'm keeping that arch in my low back. So I don't wanna go up on my toes when I do this. I wanna keep my weight back right here. Slightest bend in your legs. Just a slight bend right here, and it's back up. If you happen to have some weight, maybe a barbell, a body bar like this, you could do the same thing. So it's here, just increase the load or the resistance, same exact movement. I'm here, I'm gonna keep that arch in my back, weight back on my heels, slightest bend in my knees, hinge at the waist, and load in my quads and glutes. I really want to feel it there, and if I'm not feeling it there, I'm not doing it right. So here, and then back up, and it's back and over, and back up, and back and over, and back up. And I have to give everyone a warning when they do this, because a lot of people simply don't work their hamstrings enough, and it's a very sneaky exercise. Even when you're doing it without any weight at all, it feels very benign while you're doing it, but when you wake up the next day, you really feel the effects of that particular exercise, and people have difficulty walking, so just go easy. If you haven't done these, then do less than you think you should. In fact, way less than you think you should, because again, like I always say, you don't want to find out tomorrow you did too much today. So get used to the movement, get used to the motion patterns, and then you know, incorporate this, especially when you're on the road or you don't have any equipment. The good mornings are a great way to work that posterior chain. For more information like this, you can visit maximizeliving.com/MaxT3. I'm Dr. Fred Roberto. Max out.
What if I told you there was a nutrient that you could get from your diet that makes up the major components of your muscles, skin, immune system, and hormones? It's called protein. And this nutrient is so important because it provides the building blocks your body needs to function. Maximize Living has two options for pure, high-quality protein. First, Maximize Living Perfect Protein. Perfect Protein is derived from 100% grass-fed cows, naturally raised and free of any GMOs. It's loaded with amino acids, vital enzymes, immune factors, and many other elements that can help you build your body naturally. Perfect Protein comes in two great flavors, vanilla and chocolate. It's sweetened with stevia, so it has minimal impact on your blood sugar and can even help suppress your appetite. For those of you who are vegan, vegetarian, or you're lactose intolerant, Maximize Living Perfect Plant Protein is the right choice. One of the biggest complaints with plant-based protein is that it's an incomplete protein source. Rest assured, Maximize Living Perfect Plant Protein contains all the essential amino acids that you need. This formula combines several sources of plant protein from seeds and beans to create a complete source of powerful protein. Adding protein to your diet supports healthy energy levels, boosts immunity, promotes muscle repair, and also supports healthy bones. Maximize Living Perfect Protein or Perfect Plant Protein is the ideal protein powder for your everyday health or for enhancing recovery from exercise.
Okay, here's a great fitness tip, and that's just having a mindset that Rome wasn't built in a day, and nor can you get fit in one workout. So you have to realize that it's going to be small investments in time over time that are going to yield the kind of results that you want. So you have to be patient. So what you do is you walk in and you work as hard as you can in a particular day. You get the most out of every opportunity in a workout, and slowly over time you're going to start to see the changes happen. So don't expect it to happen overnight. Be patient, work hard, be committed, be consistent, and over time you're going to see amazing changes in not only the way you look, not only the way you feel, but in your level of health.
Hey, this is Zach Zovath with a Maximize Living Fit tip, and that is you're either moving towards health or away from it. So it sounds like a really simple concept, but it works for every one of the 5 essentials. And just ask yourself before you make a choice, is this moving me towards health or towards disease? Whether it's nutrition, you ask yourself, is this building disease or is this building health? If you need to get in for a workout, ask yourself, are you creating an oxygen-rich environment or are you doing something that's just letting disease flourish? Any choice that you make needs to be based on the principle of you're either building health or you're taking away from it.
Hey, it's Dr. Fred Roberto of Atlanta, Georgia. Here we go with 2016. We promised you big things for 2016. This is going to be your best year ever, but only if you let it. I know that we're going to deliver. Maximize Living is going to deliver to you incredible resources. That's just our area of expertise. Our job is to go out there and bring the most truthful and cutting-edge, principle-based information to the table and couple that with the practical application in the form of different programs and all the other things that we allow you to be successful with that information. But at the end of the day, you're going to be the one who takes action. And without your action, nothing's going to be different. In fact, we can have the best programs, but if there's no one there applying those programs, then all the information is meaningless. So you will get out of Maximize Living, you'll get out of the year 2016 whatever you put into it. I find that the patients who are taking the most action, those are our potential miracle cases just waiting to happen. And we want that to be you. And so, again, take action. Don't be afraid. Wake up in the morning and say you're going to get the job done. And so I know coming down the line in 2016, we've got an amazing makeover. It's your best year ever. We're gonna arm you with the mindset, and we're gonna hopefully inspire you to become something different. And there'll be a practical application side to that. There's gonna be your best month ever. It's an exercise, a 30-day exercise in everything you learned at the makeover. The makeover was step 1, the challenge was step 2. But it doesn't stop there. Just within the first couple of months of the year, to make sure that you're off to a good start, we're gonna have a recipe night set up for you. There's gonna be a Max Life call, and so you'll hear from myself and Dr. Ryan Sowsley and Zach, who you'll be learning, you've probably seen him on the hot seat video already. We're gonna be getting together and just sharing some information about just how you're gonna rock out this new year. And you've got a patient appreciation day. I mean, we want to give thanks back to you and also share the mission with other people. So plug into that. And so the resources are abundant. They're not going to stop. And so it's just a matter of you moving in the right direction. And here's the thing I like to say all the time. Most of America is racing in the wrong direction. That's why we've got so much cancer, heart disease, diabetes, obesity, depression. It's all worse than it's ever been before, because America, we are so disconnected from that natural order, and we're disconnected and moving so quickly away from it. And so what we in Maximize Living like to do is to take people, stop them in their tracks. If nothing else, stop people in their tracks. And get you to pause and reflect and think for a second about the direction that you're moving in, and hopefully we can move you in the right direction. And even if you're moving slowly in the right direction, it's better than moving quickly in the wrong one. But what if? What if in 2016, what if today you decide to be something different, and you decide not to just move in the right direction, but to race in the right direction? And I see that in patients all the time. Those are miracle cases. Those are the people that, you know, after 3 months, you don't even recognize who they are because they've gone through such an incredible transformation. I also liken it to like reading a book. And so, you know, every time a patient walks in the office, you know, I've got giant plans for them, much bigger than they have for themselves. And to me, it's just like reading the book. The laws and principles that govern your health, they never, ever, ever fail you. You may fail them, but they're not gonna fail you. And if you start lining up with them, I know how the story goes. Even though, you know, you may not have read, you may not have read the book, you may not know what the next page or the next chapter looks like, but we do. I just know that if you start eating better, your life is gonna begin to change. I know that if you start moving your body and exercising, your life's gonna begin to change. You start detoxifying, your life's gonna change, and certainly you start removing the interference from your nervous system and becoming more vibrantly alive, your life's gonna change. And you put that stuff all together, it's incredible, the story that's waiting to be written. So I know what the story looks like. I know how the next chapter goes. I know what the end of the story looks like. You may not, but we know. We've done this for thousands and thousands of people over the period of years and years and years. So please, I implore you just to take massive action in 2016. And the only thing that can get in your way is you. And so if you just get committed, you stay consistent, you just put your head down one day at a time, let us lead you, let your Maximize Living doctor lead you. They're experts in this stuff. You'll see incredible changes and transformations. I'm Dr. Fred Roberto with another fit tip, and I love this tip. It's to look for the opportunity in every single rep, and really it's look for the opportunity in every single workout. But you got to break it down into a smaller component, into the actual repetitions, because it's all the repetitions that make the sets, and the sets that make the workout that ultimately determine your outcome. So you give every single rep your best effort. and collectively, over enough great reps, you're gonna have an amazing workout. And if you have that attitude every time you approach a workout, then you're gonna see incredible transformations and incredible outcome. It's just a mindset. It's just an attitude that you have. And so you wanna do everything with excellence, and that includes excellence in every single rep. So again, there's an opportunity hidden in all different areas and aspects of your life, and they're certainly hidden in your workouts. So again, look for that opportunity in every rep. I'm Dr. Fred Roberto with a great lower body movement, the basic lunge. Here's a great staple in lower body movements, and that's the good old-fashioned lunge. We'll do a forward lunge for demonstration purposes today. So with a lunge, what I want to do is take one big step out forward, and I'm gonna step heavy with my heel, especially if I wanna go really low. I wanna get out heavy with my heel and start to move forward, and I wanna sink down when I get my knee out over my ankle right here. And I'm fighting to keep my back leg straight. So let's talk about a couple dynamics there. So when I take my step, again, it's a big heavy step out, and I stepped heavy with my heel, because if I don't, I just step with my toe right here. The problem comes in the fact that when I go to sink down, then I'm gonna see my knee start to go out over my toe. There's some controversy over that, but you know, they say they may put too much torque on the knee, but at the end of the day, let's err on the side of caution. And so we're gonna step out, and I wanna keep my knee back behind my toe, and even lined up with my shin would be great. And it doesn't mean it's gonna compromise how low I get. I could still get incredibly low. So I keep my back leg straight, and I want to keep my upper body up. I don't want to be bending forward like so right here. So I want to sink down. And then there's a return portion of this that's also very important, and you can really work on power and explosiveness. And what you want to do is load and drive heavy off of that front foot. And by driving back, you're going to really recruit more fast twitch muscle fibers. So here's a deep lunge and back up. And a deep lunge, fighting to keep my back leg straight, explode back up. And of course, you could do this with weights. You could put dumbbells in your hands. You could put a barbell over your shoulders, a sandbag. You can hold a stability ball or medicine ball, something along those lines. And but let's go through some modifications of that as well. So some people have got bad knees or something along those lines. They may not be able to go as low. So they simply don't step as far, and their range of motion is decreased, just like something like here, or if you need to, begin here. So obviously, like always, we want to promote full range of motion. That'll give you your greatest strength gains and give you the best benefits from a joint health perspective as well. For more information like this, you can visit maximizeliving.com/MaxT3. I'm Dr. Fred Roberto. Max out. I'm Dr. Fred Roberto, and welcome to another Fit Tip. And you've got to own this principle right here, because this is the key to getting the most amazing transformation in your fitness through your workouts, and that's having an understanding that intensity is king. This is cutting edge science. And so when we talk about intensity, we're talking about getting that heart rate up, and we're talking about, you know, breathing really hard. Those are two of the best ways to measure your intensity. But that's where all the magic happens metabolically and from a hormonal perspective. But unfortunately, and this piggybacks off another tip that, you know, we've handed out, that when you're at an intense state, that means you're gasping for breath and you're trying to get, you know, oxygen into your body. So it's an uncomfortable environment to be in. So you know that you're in an intense state when you're uncomfortable. That's why, piggybacking off one of the other tips, you learn to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, but that's when you know you're in that state of high intensity. That's where all the magic happens. That's where you're going to be in an optimum fat burning and muscle building kind of state. That's when you're creating your greatest cardiovascular response. That's when you're getting amazingly fit. That's when you're building energy systems. So the cutting edge science is clear. Intensity is king. Learn to love to work out in that capacity.
Does the body ever injure or destroy itself? Answer the question, does the body ever injure or destroy itself? Principle 25, the character of innate forces never injure or destroy the structures in which they work. What that means is the body is always doing the right thing at the right time. Your body is always doing the right thing at the right time. Drink a glass of gasoline, what does your body do? It gets it out of you. You throw up. The right thing at the right time. You have a fever. This is incredible. If you really think about it, your body has the ability to heat itself up 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 degrees to ward off some kind of invader or bacteria or virus. It's always doing the right thing at the right time so those things don't harm the body. You think about a headache, but it's the body speaking to you, giving you warning signs to tell you that needs something, it's missing something, it's a warning sign, it's talking to you. Always the right thing at the right time. You put bad food, you get diarrhea, it's pushing that out of you because if it stays in you, it's going to harm you. If you have allergies, why is it that you breathe air in and I breathe air in and you get allergies and I don't? It's not the air, it's you. You need extra immune system support because whenever it gets bombarded, it needs to push it out of the body. The body is always doing the right thing at the right time. Is the body harming itself? So it's not lifestyle side of things. The nervous system is not a lifestyle. The adjustment is not a lifestyle. That's like calling air a lifestyle. Should we try this? Take a deep breath in. All the way out. That's not a lifestyle. That's a basic function to live. The nervous system supersedes it. They took people with fibromyalgia in this study, and they tested them all, and they started putting them through lifestyles. And they put them through working out, and they put them through regimens and stress relief, and they were seeing how they would respond to it, and those things do good. Don't get me wrong. In my office, we'll do a lot of lifestyle stuff, right? We do all of those things, but the foundation has to be nervous system, you see. It's the foundation of it. And so they took those people, and they saw, yeah, they got some results, but then when they hit a year mark, they would start going the other direction. They were hitting a wall, and it started to work against them. So then instead of what normally would do with studies is they compare chiropractic to lifestyle changes. It's not a lifestyle, but they would compare it, but what they did here is they put it as the foundation. And they all got them adjusted, and then they did the lifestyle. First 12 weeks, results are very similar. A year in, though, you started changing the neuroplasticity of the nervous system. You started changing and unlocking the healing power in the body so it could finally get through, and at a year, those people were excelling. Why? Because it's a foundation. It's not a lifestyle. You need it like you need air. That's like you could eat the best food in the world but not breathe. It's not going to do anything for you. You could exercise and not breathe. You wouldn't last too long. The nervous system is more powerful than that. It's controlling the breathing.
Hey, it's Dr. Fred Roberto with another Fit Tip, and this is one of our primary and core values in our fitness centers and that we preach amongst and throughout MaxTV, and that is that you are not allowed to get hurt. Nobody gets hurt in our programs. It doesn't do you any good to try to do things that you know you can't do, or you're pushing yourself too hard, or allowing your technique to break down to the point where you get injured. Because if you get injured, at the end of the day, you're on the shelf. And if you're on the shelf, then you're not out there working out, and you're not going to get fit if you're sedentary. And if you don't have an opportunity to get fit, then you're not going to achieve the level of health that we're ultimately after. So again, reverse engineering that. If health is our end goal in mind, then we know for you to be healthy, you have to be able to get fit. And for you to be able to get fit, you have to work out, and you can't work out if you're on the shelf. So approach everything in a very sharp and bright manner, and you'll find yourself getting the kind of results that you want. All right, Dr. Fred Roberto back again. So we've got this makeover coming up, and we don't want you to miss it. This is the flagship program for Maximize Living. This is where you're going to get the most bang for your buck, and it's also the opportunity where, you know, we get in front of you and we get to share all of 5 essentials with you at one time and really put all the pieces of the puzzle together. It's something that you can't afford to miss. If you're going to miss any event, don't let it be this one. And like I said earlier, if you've been to a makeover, they're always different. They've always got different intentions. You can't afford to miss this. In fact, just delivering the makeovers, it makes me a better person at that time. I look forward to doing those on a regular basis just to keep me on track. And so, and we live and breathe and teach this stuff. So I just know that if you're not involved to the extent that we are, that you're out there in that world, that's pulling you even further away from those principles of maximized living. So you need this even more. You cannot afford to miss it. This makeover is going to be awesome. We promised you this to be your best year ever, 2016. If it's going to be, then you've got to get your mind right. You've got to get your heart in the right place. And so that's what this makeover is really all designed around, is reprogramming your software so that you're thinking totally different, that we're going to set you on a course where you're going to start changing lifestyle habits. You're going to start changing patterns. And it's all based on the information that you hear. And we're also going to talk about the practical application side, the nutrition, the exercise. We're going to give you great tips on approaching your health and wellness and detox and everything else. It all comes together. The makeovers are not just important for you to be at. This is a great opportunity for you to be part of something bigger. And just as we've come to know things and we have a moral and ethical obligation to share with you, you have the same moral and ethical obligation to share this information with other people. And when you bring someone to a makeover, it's just just a great environment for people to be turned on to a different way of living, to the natural order, a new order. And so, people will thank you for bringing them to the makeover. And so I will challenge everyone to not just be there, but I'm going to challenge everyone to bring someone with you. And if you've got things going on the calendar, everyone does, I get it. But you have to clear your calendar out because there's nothing more important than your health. You may have a ball game, you may have this going on or that obligation. Trust me, your kids want you to become amazingly healthy and bring those values back to the home. There'll be plenty other ball games. There'll be plenty other opportunities to do other things. Clear your calendar out and make sure that you're at this event. I say that from the bottom of my heart because I know that if you miss this, that you can't get this back. And so make sure you go up to your reception desk and that you sign up for this makeover ahead of time. Reserve yourself a seat and the seat of someone else.
He came in like a madman. He was hearing all of these voices and he was just so depressed about not being able to think straight. So he was adjusted. He bolted from the clinic back to the house and he was like, for the first time, so excited that he could hear his own voice again.
The benefit that Maximize Living provides, it allows me to get free support and to really align my body the way that God created it to be.
I just had a miracle happen when I walked through these doors.
Such a debilitating disease I've had over the last years, and now all of a sudden it's put to a stop without any medicine.
I came here and it was one of the best decisions of my life.
That's when I got introduced to Maximize Living and the chiropractic care that they offer. I've really fallen in love with what the foundation stands for, and I'm just very excited to see what's to come.
There are really, really good days and there are really, really hard days. But it's amazing that I get to just sit down and talk with people and see like where they've come from, where they're at. I mean, you never know what you're gonna see, what you're gonna hear, but it's amazing just to be able to pour into them and to see them go from these broken people who have no purpose, who have no hope, they have no light in their eyes, and then as they go through the program, to see them as they gain responsibility, as they become a leader and they start loving their life and they start seeing the miracles, not only here in their lives, but also in their families' lives, because they see how much they've changed.
I really very much want to pursue a career with Maximized Living now. I believe I have the blessing in my second year of not only working with the food truck ministry, getting to go out every day and feeding God's people that are in need, getting to be a blessing in their life, but I also get to be somewhat of an intern in Maximized Living as well.
I almost feel like they changed my life more than I helped them, you know, so it's pretty cool. There are just so many people that just love you for just being part of Maximized Living and just for being here to help.
Thank you very much, Maximize Living, and thank you so much, Dr. April, for the great work that you do here at the LA Dream Center.
Hey, it's Dr. Fred again. I want to talk to you about the upcoming Patient Appreciation Day. It is exactly that. We want to give back to our patients, show our appreciation to their commitment to their health and commitment to this movement to change the planet. The Patient Appreciation Day is just a day to celebrate amazing health and wellness. It's also an opportunity for not just us, for patients to enroll in the mission of changing this planet. So that's why we always extend an opportunity for you to bring someone in and get evaluated, to get turned on to these principles, to see what the condition of someone's spine and nervous system is. I think that every person on the planet Earth deserves to hear the information that you learn about Maximized Living. It's just the natural order. These are laws and principles. They're timeless. We all need to understand that these are the things that are going to yield amazing outcomes as far as health goes. And we also need to understand that as a culture, we don't live in accordance to them. In fact, we're breaking the rules more than any other culture in the history of mankind. People need to know that this is the road that we're walking on and that there's a better way that we could be living and approaching our life and our health care. And so bringing people into something like the Patient Appreciation Day is a great opportunity for them to learn those principles, and more importantly, and very personally, they can learn where they're at as far as their journey in health goes. And that's really what an evaluation of someone's spine and nervous system does for them. It gives them a much higher level of understanding of how their body's functioning and healing. And it's much better to identify that your body's in a dysfunctional state now before that dysfunction ever leads to disease or they ever get a diagnosis. And so you never know how far-reaching something that you say or do today can affect the life of someone or the lives of millions in the future. So make sure that you are at that Patient Appreciation Day. Take advantage of it. It's a way that we can give back to you, but that you also include other people around you that you love and that you care about into the fold.
So I heard about Maximized Living when I came to the Dream Center. Everybody was telling me about it because I was born with cerebral palsy in both of my legs. So because of that, there's been a lot of rotation within my hips, and so as a result of that, I've always had back problems. I've always had issues with my bone structure. And so when I came into the chiropractor's office at Maximized Living here on the Dream Center campus, I told them specifically what was going on, and so I right away got connected with them, and then she started adjusting me. And since I was little, because of my disability, the doctors have always told me at my checkups that I would either, by the time I was in my early 20s or throughout my life, that I would either get scoliosis or osteoporosis. And so when I came and she did my x-rays, Dr. April, she had taught me how to read them, and she had already noticed that I was already starting to be in the beginning stages of getting scoliosis and then eventually osteoporosis. And so yeah, so it was just preventive. I had already known about it, and so I came just to kind of see where I was at with that and then try to fix it. As of today, by the end of my first year, last year, I did a second x-ray checkup, and because of the phenomenal work that they do here at Maximize Living, my spine is completely straightened out. Drastically, and that excited me because as I went home for Christmas break and then over summer, people noticed it right away. They said that I was walking straighter and I was standing taller and my back was straighter and I had better posture. And so I honestly cannot say how thankful I am for Dr. April and the work that she does. Because of this, I'm able to do a lot more and put my body to more use than it was before, and so because of that, there have been drastic changes that not only I have noticed, but my family, my friends, my colleagues have noticed, and because of that, I am so excited to be able to be of more use to the people around me, to the people that need me, and I could not have been able to do that without the help of Dr. April and Maximize Living.
I'm Dr. Fred Roberto, and we're here to set your metabolism on fire with Foot Fires. One movement that is incredibly simple but not easy is the foot fire. I love this. It's way, way, way harder and more effective than people think. And so I said it's simple, but it's not easy. So it's simple because all you have to do is get in a good athletic position. I'm going to bend my knees slightly, get my feet a little wider than shoulders width apart. My heels come slightly off the ground. I should be able to slide a piece of paper underneath my heels. So I'm in this position, and from here, in any sport, whether it be basketball or football or baseball, you can make a play. Wrestling, you can make a play. And so I'm here, I'm in this position, and all I'm going to do is start moving my hands very quickly, and more importantly, my feet very quickly, as if I'm standing on a bed of coals. I'm getting them up and down. And it's not as important that your hands move, but it is important that your feet do. So I'm here, and it's just like so. That's it. So just feet moving as fast as you can. And I'm telling you, it's way, way harder than it looks. So you can use that in a variety of different ways, in little surges and bursts, or you could try to stick it out for a full minute, something along those lines, or you can incorporate it with other movements, like you'll see us do foot fire bag jumps, or you'll see us do JBs or something along those lines. Check out those exercises, and you'll see how incorporating foot fires can be an effective way, especially if you're training for athletics and maintaining a good athletic position and staying very mobile. For more information like this, you can visit maximizeliving.com/MaxT3. I'm Dr. Fred Roberto. Max out. Hey, it's Dr. Fred Roberto. I want to talk to you guys about Recipe Night coming up. This is, again, one of those events that we host that's just a great resource to turn the information that we teach you into practical application. What I love about the Recipe Night is that it's just a chance for you to come and taste a variety of different foods that we promote on our nutrition plans, whether it be the core or the advanced plan, usually the advanced plan. It's just neat to come out there and see how good healthy food can actually taste. So our plans are not deprivation plans, and eating healthy doesn't mean eating tasteless food. And so this is a great opportunity to come and check that out, have some fellowship with other patients, you know, just talk and be more around the element of maximized living, and the more you're around it, the more successful you're gonna be. So it's also a great opportunity to bring someone into the fold. So if you've been to a Recipe Night 2, 3, or 4, you know, then bring some other people into the mix too, so they could see, you know, how cool this is. Just a neat event. And so, you know, if you've been to some in the past as well, try some different recipes, and it just broadens your horizons on what you can make. So make sure you're at that Recipe Night. It's a great event.
My name is Jenna Kennedy. I'm from Florida, and I am the Director of Short-Term Missions here at the Dream Center. Maximize Living has completely helped change my life as far as health. Once I came here about a year ago when they first opened, and at that time I was actually unable to run more than a mile because of how bad the pain was in my knee and in my shoulder from flying into a windshield actually. And so within the year I'm now able to run without any pain at all and be able to use my arm almost fully, still working on that a little bit, but it's been awesome to just be able to fully run and exercise as much as I'd like to. This last March I ran my first half marathon, and I will be doing another one this next spring as well. So it's a very warm, welcoming office and just a lot of fun. Even now I still enjoy my visits here, and it's kind of part of the highlight of my morning to come in and see everyone's faces and be welcomed by them. Just really enjoyed my experience and thankful that as Maximize Living, as a foundation, you have invested in the lives of the residents here at the Dream Center. A large portion of us wouldn't be able to receive the same care in other places, especially those in our programs. And so I'm really thankful for people like yourselves taking a chance to serve our community and go above and beyond with that.
I'm Dr. Fred Roberto, and welcome to another Fit Tip. And today I want to talk about, especially if you're getting started in a program, that you approach it properly. A lot of people come out of the gates too hot and they're just not ready for it yet. So often, we teach our members to get in shape, especially when you're working out in a metabolic type of way, like we promote high intensity, short duration exercise. Your body has to be prepared to work at that intensity. And so for many, especially if they haven't worked out in years or they may have limitations, again, we'll teach you to work within yourself, but just get your body moving. And just getting your body moving, it's going to start to get fitter and fitter and fitter. And then when your body gets in shape, then you're in the kind of condition where you can actually get in shape. So again, just remember that. Get in shape to get in shape. There's nothing wrong with starting out a little bit easy, getting your body prepared, getting it to start to adapt and to get a little fitter, and then you can really start to go for it. So don't forget, get in shape to get in shape.